guys, you are welcome to my YouTube channel History Net JRF classes. So today in this video lecture I am going to talk about types of research which is classified on the basis of objectives. This topic is very important because questions are being asked in the NET exam again and again, so please do watch it completely and build your concept. Those who are watching my video for the very first time, please go and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. So research is classified under 6 heads. We have this objectives, outcome, logic, process, inquiry mode, idea or concept. Today I am going to only talk about this one. The remaining I will talk in the upcoming videos. So under objectives we have 5 research. The first one is descriptive, correlational studies or research, explanatory research, exploratory research and experimental research. The first one is descriptive research. What is descriptive research? It is non-experimental in nature. It describes the event or phenomenon as it is or as it was, and on the basis of the collected events or data of the collected events or phenomena, it is observed and then conclusions are drawn from it. There is no manipulation of data because it is non-experimental research, so we can't manipulate data. Here simply observation is done. So descriptive research questions the answers which are asked on the line of what is, what was, how is, how was, where is, where was, who was not, and so on. So it basically deals with these type of questions which are of WH family and how. It includes fact finding inquiries and surveys. So these two methods are employed just to collect all the data, just to know about everything about a particular event without manipulating or without making any changes to any data. We have to take data as it is. It should be as it is. There should be no interference from the side of researcher, from the side of the one who is collecting data. So descriptive research involves 2 types of study. The first one is cross-sectional study. It means when only one time interaction is required to collect data, and the second one is longitudinal study where multiple time interaction is required to collect data. Okay, you go again and again that particular site or to that particular record to collect the data on that particular topic. So this was all about descriptive research. So here important is this one. You have to remember that what kind of questions are being discussed by descriptive research and whether it is non-experimental or experimental. So it is non-experimental. Next we have other dimensions of descriptive research. Okay, the first one is ex post facto research. Now just look at this name of research word by word. Facto is fact, then post means after, and the x means that has happened earlier. So the fact which has been already established earlier, what you have to do is just to carry out the research work to collect the data. It is generally used in social sciences and business organization. Deals with non-manipulated variable, that is, it is non-experimental, non-manipulated variables. Next we have analytical research. It is similar to ex post facto research or descriptive research, but in this what we do is that based on the collected data which is not manipulated at all, what we do is that we critically evaluate the existing material. Whatever source of information we have, we just evaluate it with critical understanding. So that comes under analytical research. The last one is historical research. Okay, it usually focuses on the historical aspect of the issue or problem. It is somewhat similar to ex post facto research. Okay, it is similar, they are similar, but what is difference is that in historical research you concentrate on the historical aspect of any topic. Okay, so this is all about historical research. Next we have correlational research. So in correlational, as the name itself suggests, that there is a kind of relation between two common things. Co means common, right? So two variables are measured to know the relationship between them, but there is no role of extraneous variable. Thus it is non-manipulated, non-experimental research, it has non-manipulated variable. So we have two variables. Okay, we try to find the relationship between them and up to what extent they relate with each other. It comes under correlational research. There is no role of an outsider variable or external variable or an extraneous variable. So there is no manipulation of data as it is. When it is not manipulated, then it becomes non-experimental, simple. You have to remember these two. Whatever is non-experimental research in nature, it will have no manipulation of data at all. So in correlational we have two division. The first one is positive correlation, and the other one is negative correlational. Okay, in positive correlation, when one variable is increasing, accordingly the other variable it will increase, and when variable is decreasing, then accordingly other variable will decrease. I can just try to understand it with one example. That say for example, a vehicle have a music system. So if that vehicle is coming close to you, you will be able to have you will be able to listen to that music clearly and louder. And as the moment the vehicle goes away from you, then the sound of the music will be low. So here what we seeing, that if vehicle is close, the sound is high, if vehicle is far, the sound is low. So it is positive correlational. But in negative correlational we have a reverse thing. If one variable is increasing, other variable will decrease at the same time. For example, if you are increasing the consumption of alcohol, your health will degrade. But if you are lowering the if you are increasing the okay, so this was about negative correlational, that I gave an example. The relationship between alcohol and health, it has a negative correlational between the two. So this was about correlational research. Next we have explanatory research. So as the name itself suggests, it explains the things. It answers questions which are asked how and why. They are asked togetherly between two aspects of a situation. We have a situation, and it has two aspects, right? So we try to know the question, to know the answers of this one situation uh, from two aspects by asking the questions how and why. So it allows a researcher with deep insight on a specific subject or topic. It helps to have deeper understanding on any particular topic. So the example of explanatory research is that why and how India got its independence. Okay, so here is an independence, that is one situation, that is one event that has occurred. So we will look into it, why and how, like what were the reasons for it to get independence and how it was achieved. So when these two questions are asked combinedly to one particular event or to one particular situation, then it comes under explanatory research, because we are trying to explain using these two questions for a particular situation. And we can have two aspects, like when we talk about the independence, historiography of independence. So we will have lots of historians from different schools who will give the reasons on the questions of why and how. So we can understand it. The next example we have, why and how body shaming became part of a society. So this body shaming is a situation, or is a phenomenon that has occurred and it is still being continued in the society. So why it happened and how it built up over the time, how it builded up over the time. So it comes under explanatory research. Similarly, another example is why and how accident occurred. For example, any accident occurred, then why? Maybe the driver was drunk, and how it collided with some vehicle from the opposite side, or whatever reason it may be. Then what we see, that it is explaining, okay, it is explaining why it happened and how it happened. So when we are dealing with these two questions that are linked, then it comes under explanatory research. Many a time we can also ask simple single questions like how it happened. So here also we are explaining like how it happened, how accident occurred, how someone died. So in that way we can ask the questions and we can carry out our research. So in this explanatory research, this is important, you have to remember this. Next we have exploratory research. So exploratory means explore, to explore where little is known, and it is done through secondary literature, surveys, case studies, interviews, and so on. These are the sources to collect your data, to collect your information, to gather all the work that has been done on that particular topic. For example, on environmental history, very less work is being done. So if you want to do research in that, so first you have to acquire the knowledge, whatever research work has been done on it, and after that you can develop your own questions, you can establish research objectives, you can develop research hypothesis. So this exploratory research is the foundation stone of every research, because it is done at the beginning of research. Whatever research you want to carry, you have to know the details, or you have to gather all the previous data that has been worked on it. You have to read all the secondary literature, you have to review all the analytical work, whatever has been done on that particular topic. After doing that, then only you can develop your hypothesis, you can develop your research problem, you can establish your research objective. So under exploratory, it is done at the beginning of research, and it helps to develop research hypothesis. So if in exams you are asked the questions, so you should remember this thing, that what is the foundation for every research. So it starts with exploratory research. For example, you are in MA right now and you want to do PhD further, so you have to develop your hypothesis. How will you develop your hypothesis? You have to read the first, you have to pick up your area of interest, and after that you will read all the work that has been done on that particular topic. After that only you can reach to develop questions. Okay, so that is exploratory research. So every researcher, before starting their research work, they are engaged in exploratory research, they are engaged in exploration. This was about exploratory research. Next we have experimental research. So it is experimental, that means data will be manipulated. Always remember this. It is designed for establishing causal relationship. So it talks about the relationship which include two elements, cause and effect. One variable will be the agent of cause, other variable will be the affected one. So how these two are related, how one variable affect the other variable's outcome. So experimental research involves two variables, one is dependent and another one is independent variable. The independent variable is manipulated to measure the effectiveness on the dependent variable, exactly what I said. So for example, the experiment is done with the teaching method, where the teaching method is an independent variable and the effectiveness or the outcome of the student's performance is a dependent variable. So we have chosen one independent variable, and that is teaching method, and we are going to experiment it on a class, on a class, and we will divide that class into 2 or 3 groups, whatever, and here the performance or the outcome is going to be a dependent variable. So this independent variable can be manipulated. So in one group we are going to use teacher centered, and in another group we are going to use learner centered approach. And once we have applied this approach, that we are manipulating this teaching method variable, and then we will record what is the effect, and finally we will reach to conclusion which teaching method is better. So this come under experimental research. So in experimental research we basically have 3 ingredients. The first one is the control. First of all, you create a controlled situation. That division of class group into 2 was also a controlled situation, because it depends on the researcher or teacher to categorize the group into 2. Okay, and then there we have this effect of manipulated variable, and then we recorded the effect of manipulated variable on the dependent variable. So experimental research works on these 3 levels. Always remember this, you can have questions also. So there is one more term that comes under experimental research, that is reflexivity. Reflexivity means when you have 2 variables, right, you are unable to decide which one is independent, which one is dependent, or you are unable to decide which one is the causal variable or which one is the affected variable. So when this situation comes, it comes under reflexivity, like it is bidirectional and it is circular, because you have no clear cut idea which variable is independent or which variable is dependent, because both the variable act like the same variable at the same time. For example, the relationship between poverty and unemployment. If I say poverty is because of unemployment, or if I say unemployment is because of poverty, so here we can't decide which one is a dependent, which one is independent. If we look at the first sentence, the same variable which is independent, it will become dependent in a second variable. So it is though this is called reflexivity. You might be asked MCQs on this, so remember this, that it is circular, it is bidirectional, and here we don't have clear cut dichotomy between the independent variable and dependent variable, because the same variable can be dependent in one situation and it can become independent in another situation. So this was all about. So how you like the video, please give me feedback in the comment box below. And in the next video I will be going to talk on the basis of I will be talking about a type of research on the basis of logic and outcome. It is also very important, very important. You should not miss this video. So please do like my video, share it and subscribe to my channel. And you can join us on Telegram, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. The links are given in the description box below. Thank you very much.